a big welcome to all those that are joining for this webinar. I'm super elated that you decided to be part of it. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great one. Oh, yes. You need to have expectations, because expectation is the key to performance. It's also the key to manifestation. So we've got to be expectant. I'm so excited to be sharing with you tonight. We only have maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I definitely cannot fully exhaust the subject of burnout in that short span of time. And the truth be told, I am going to be offering more than this webinar. I'm going to be offering a package, a program for those that really need it to help you to recover from burnout if you've already been burnt out, or are burning out. So I'm going to offer that before the close of this particular presentation, but be rest assured that the presentation in itself is going to load you with a whole lot of information, a whole lot of beneficial information. It's going to give you the tips and the keys and what you need to do to avoid and to start to recover if you are already burnt out. Okay, so it's going to be great that way. Now, I'm a man of many parts, as a lot of you know. Now, most of you know me as Pastor Timmy, as a reverend gentleman sharing God's word, teaching God's word. And yes, indeed, that's what I am. I'm a medical doctor by training, but I'm also a coach, a mentor, a leadership and life coach. I'm very, very interested in navigating your life forward. I'm here to help. I'm here to help you be the best version of you, to help you to fulfill your potentials, to fulfill your purpose, to attain to your destiny. I'm here to just equip you with everything that God has equipped me with. I'm a helper. And I'm trusting that even tonight in this webinar, you are going to be greatly helped. You're going to look back to this webinar and say, wow, that was a landmark. That was a significant webinar for me. All right, so let's dive in. And to dive right in, I'm going to have to share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to get rolling. Right? Okay. Antidotes to burnout, the secrets of the evergreen. Antidotes to burnout, the secrets of the evergreen. So we take off right away. And the first thing I want to talk to you about, or the first question we want to start to deal with, and this is the question that you're going to be tussling with through the course of the webinar, and hopefully you have an accurate answer to it before the close of this webinar, and that is, are you burning out? Now, certain statistics have come are obvious right now. The Indeed did a survey in 2020, and 52% of the respondents to that survey in the United States of America admitted experiencing burnout in 2020. And then guess what? In the United Kingdom, as Asana did a survey, and the conclusion of that survey was that 72% of UK workers reported being burnt out in 2020, 72%. That is like 3/4 of the UK workforce reported some form of burnout. Burnout is a pandemic. I know whenever we say the word pandemic now, everybody immediately thinks of COVID, but it's come to my attention that burnout is far more pervasive than most people are aware. Many people are burnt out or are burning out, and it is something that needs to be addressed. The truth be told, this issue of burnout actually predated the COVID pandemic. It was already an issue within the workforce, and it is no respecter of persons. Let me quickly underscore that for you. Burnout is no respecter of persons. The old, the middle-aged, the young, anybody can burn out. Yeah, it doesn't matter male, female, tall, short, doesn't matter who you are. The possibility, the potentiality to burn out is well available, well possible for absolutely anybody. you know. And the truth be told, the pandemic has further made it hard, or has exacerbated burnout in most people's lives. It's exacerbated, it's made it worse, it's revealed it. You know, some of us, if we are to be honest, when the pandemic started, were dismayed, and then when the lockdown started and you couldn't go to work, maybe for a short period of time you were happy that now I don't have to make the commute to go to work. I can now work from home. I'm now free at last to work from home, particularly even employees that had been trying to argue to get their employers to allow them work from home forever. Now the situation in the world created that opportunity to work from home. But the joy of working from home very, very quickly disappeared. It very quickly disappeared. In fact, if I'm to be honest, I found myself working even more in the lockdown than when there was no lockdown. I found myself under more demand, under more workload, in working from home, working remotely, than when I was commuting to wherever I needed to go. The truth that happened was that most of us started to realize or experience the fact that your start and end times were no longer defined. Boundaries disappeared, and you kept on working and kept on working. All the journey time was removed, and that journey time was now invested in doing more work and in doing more meetings. So very quickly, the joy of working from home was replaced with overwork. And then add to that homeschooling. When the schools were closed, we found ourselves homeschooling. We found that parents had to become teachers. I mean, our hands were full to the brim. Burnout is a reality today, and guess what? It's on the rise. Most burnout statistics refer to the workplace. It's often associated with the workplace and productivity. But guess what? Burnout is not limited to the workplace. It's not unique to the workplace. Parents are burning out, children are burning out, athletes are burning out. It's all over the place. The struggle is real. Yes, the struggle is real. It's very, very real. Even spiritual people, Christians like you, are burning out. Pastors are burning out. Reverends are burning out. It's just the reality of the days that we live in. You would expect that people of faith would not burn out, but even people of faith are burning out. Now let's really look a little bit in trying to start to define burnout. Let's start to try to look at burnout. But before we go to that definition, let me quickly run another poll. I want to quickly run another poll, and I need you to be very fast in responding to this poll because we have significant ground to cover. Where are you on the burnout heat map? Where are you on the burnout heat map? That's what this poll is about. Hallelujah. So we're going to quickly go into that now. I'm launching the poll. Yep. The poll is launched now. You have 4 options to choose. Think deeply about yourself and where you are on the burnout heat map. Are you already burnt out? Or are you burning out gradually? Or are you at risk of burning out? You don't feel you've started to burn out, but you feel that you're at risk of burning out. Or do you consider yourself to be an evergreen person? I'm not burning out at all. I'm not at risk of burning out. I'm like the burning bush that is burning, and yet it is not consumed. So quickly, we have 49 participants. So I would like at least a good percentage of you to quickly cast your vote and let me know where you fall. Are you burnt out? Or are you burning out gradually? Or are you at risk of burning out in your own judgment? Or do you consider yourself to be an evergreen person? You don't feel like I'm burning out at all. I'm good. I'm good. There's nothing going on in my life that I can even call burnout. 31 out of 49 persons have cast their vote so far. I want a few more to cast their vote before we move ahead. It's good for me to have a good idea of where we stand when it comes to this particular subject. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. All right, brilliant. I'm going to stop the poll vote in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and share the results with you. And that's the result. The highest percentage is I'm burning out gradually. Most of us here right now feel I'm burning out gradually. And then the next is 36%, I am at risk of burning out. And then 18% says I'm evergreen. 6 out of 33 people that voted says I'm evergreen. I'm the burning bush. I'm burning, but I'm not consumed. And then 6% admittedly say I am burnt out. Brilliant. This gives an idea of where we are. And this should start to show us very, very clearly that we are definitely in a situation, in a time of burnout, a real time of burnout, and nobody is exempt actually from the risk of burning out. Even the evergreen person can burn out. Even your pastor can burn out. So we've got to learn about burnout. Let's go deeper and start to look at what does it mean to burn out. What is burnout? What is burnout? All right. What is burnout? And moving forward. And as we look at that, we start to look at certain definitions. Now, the person that came up with the term burnout, actually, his name is Herbert Friedenberger. He coined the phrase or the word burnout in the 1970s, and he characterized burnout by a set of symptoms that include exhaustion resulting from excessive work demands, as well as the resulting physical symptoms such as headaches and sleeplessness, quickness to anger, and closed thinking. Now, another definition is that burnout, listen, burnout is a state of emotional and physical exhaustion that is brought upon by long periods of constant, unrelenting stress. It renders you feeling depleted. Note these two words. It renders you feeling depleted and dejected. It renders you feeling depleted and dejected. Now, psychologists and researchers often characterize burnout into 3 component areas that I'm going to quickly share with you. They are exhaustion, the feeling of being exhausted physically and emotionally. Next one is they associate it with cynicism, where you become so critical and negative and pessimistic about life, about people, about situations. And the third thing is inefficacy, where the person is no longer able to perform well, is not able to hit targets, is not able to produce like they used to produce. This is trying to define what burnout is. One of the things that help us to really understand burnout is what I call the stress spiral. The stress spiral, okay? This is coined by one of my mentors, Carrie Newworth. Now, the stress spiral starts with what we call overwhelm. Overwhelm. A lot of people feel overwhelmed, which is they feel like I have too much to do and too little time in which to do it. Do I have a witness? Is anybody that feels like that, that's listening to me tonight, that you feel like I've got so much to do and yet I have so little time in which to do it, okay? That's overwhelm, okay? That's overwhelm. That's the first step in the stress spiral. Stress can make you overwhelmed. Then the next thing is overcommitted. Overcommitted. What does it mean? This is when you've said yes to too many things. And there are a lot of us that are like that. And I must admit, I'm one of those people that like to say yes, or maybe I used to like to say yes. So my default answer to everything was yes, yes, yes. But when you say yes to too many things, you become overcommitted. So there is overwhelm, and then there is overcommitment. Next step in the stress spiral is overworked. Obviously, when you have too much to do and less time to do it in overwhelmed, when you are overcommitted, you said yes to too many things, what's going to happen to you? You are going to be overworked. Now, the overworked is when time off does not re-energize you anymore. when taking time off no longer refuels you. And all of this leads to what I call being overloaded. Now, the stress spiral is the result of, listen to these things. I hope you are taking notes because I couldn't put all of the points inside the slides. The slides are only a guide. So you're going to have to take notes. You're going to have to take notes and note down those notes that you are taking. Okay. Now, the stress spiral is a result of, number one, unfocused time. Number two, unleveraged energy. And number three, hijacked priorities. The stress spiral always and only leads to burnout. So if you are anywhere in this stress spiral, where this stress spiral is leading is to burnout. Overwhelmed, overcommitted, overworked, overloaded. Now, I like the word overloaded because I think the word overloaded really helps to explain what it means to be burnt out. You see, like if you have an elevator has what we call a load-bearing capacity, meaning that maybe that elevator's load-bearing capacity is that it can only take 15 people. Now, if for whatever crazy reason you decided to sandwich 30 people into that elevator whose load-bearing capacity is for 15, what you have just done to that elevator is that you have overloaded it. You have made it carry more than its capacity, and therefore it's just a matter of time that elevator will malfunction, that elevator will burn out. Did you get it? It will burn out. Now, this is what happens to a lot of people also. We carry things that are beyond our load-bearing capacity, and it causes us to burn out. Every person has a natural load-bearing capacity. Burnout is when you are carrying in excess of your load-bearing capacity. You might be able to function for a while, even with that overload, but you definitely cannot function consistently or in a sustained way with that overload. It's just a matter of time. You will collapse under the load. You will burn out. So burnout, listen, another simple definition. Burnout is when the demand upon you exceeds your ability to supply. Burnout is when the demand upon you exceeds your ability to supply. Okay, I'm going to very quickly run you through, because a lot of the time burnout is also gradual. Burnout, I'm going to run you through the 5 stages of burnout. It's gradual, and these are the stages, particularly in the context of when you get into a new job. Now, the first stage of burnout is the honeymoon stage. You've landed this new job, everything is new, people are new, you're excited, you're top of the world. Hey, I've got it going. That's the honeymoon stage. And in the honeymoon stage, you want to impress everybody. You want to impress your new boss. So you are going the extra mile. You are doing everything you need to do. You are first in and last out, honeymoon stage. But then you quickly move on from the honeymoon stage and you enter into what we call the balancing act, because now you've started to find out some of the internal politics of the office. You've started to find out the resistance, the obstacles, not everything, you don't like everything there. There are things you don't like, and you're now just trying to find your way. You're starting to balance out in that place. And then you move on from the balance in act, where you enter into what we call the chronic stage. This is when you are now starting to overwork. You don't have defined start and stop times anymore. It's 24/7, round the clock. You're just chronic, you're going. This is the 3rd stage of burnout. And then the 4th stage is crisis. This is when the overwork, the overwhelm, the overload, all of that is now coming together and it starts to create a crisis within you. This is when even you start to feel, I've got to do something. And this is a lot of the time when people start to contemplate making seismic changes. This is when they just want to say, okay, I'm going on vacation and I don't want to come back from my vacation. And finally, we have what we call enmeshment. This is when you are really trapped in it. And a lot between that crisis and enmeshment stage, that's when people do crazy things. Some people will just walk out on the job or change their career, walk out on the church, whatever it is. They just say, I can't take it no more. I'm out of here. 5 stages of burnout. Yeah. So let's quickly now delve into what are the signs and symptoms of burnout. How can you identify, how can you know if you have burnout happening in the midst of you? How can you know if burnout is happening in the midst of you, whether you are vulnerable, whether it has started to happen? And I dare say that possibly a lot of us have some symptoms already, some signs of it already in our lives. Even looking at some of what I've already said, hopefully it started to turn on some light bulbs inside you. And you started to say, this sounds like me, okay? Chronic fatigue and exhaustion is one of the signs and symptoms of burnout. Chronic fatigue and exhaustion is one of the signs when you find yourself always tired and exhausted. You remember that one of the psychological characteristics of burnout is exhaustion. Another characteristic is insomnia, lack of sleep, and inability to sleep. Even when you try to sleep, you find yourself struggling with being able to sleep. Another sign and symptoms is an increasing cynical and negative outlook to situations and to people. When you see situations and circumstances, whenever you face a challenge, you are quick to take on a cynical and a negative outlook to life and to whatever that situation or circumstance is that you are facing. We've got to break this cycle. A decreased sense of satisfaction and an accomplishment. Even when you are doing things and making progress, you're not drawing any satisfaction out of your progress and even out of the accomplishments that you are having. The loss of motivation and drive, where you find you don't have motivation, you don't have drive. Things that were simple for you to do before, all of a sudden is now taking so much effort for you to get up and do what you used to do very easily before. It could be a sign that you are starting to burn out. Loss of joy in what you do. You used to be excited to do what you do, but now you don't have any excitement doing it anymore. The joy of life is draining out of you. You are just going through the motions. You are just going through the act, but yet you don't really have any passion for the act. A feeling of detachment. Some people call this imposter syndrome. You are separated from your actions now. You are just detached. You're just going through the motions. The feeling of being stuck in a holding pattern, going nowhere. You feel like you're in a treadmill that is not making any progress. You feel like you're not going anywhere. This is a sign of burnout. Feeling emotionally flat. No reaction comes from you. Up and down, you're just in this emotionally flat person, or emotionally drained, where even little interactions with people drain you totally. It's almost as if your battery is always on 5%. So any little demand, it goes to 0. Your battery seems to be, I don't know whether any of you have had any device that had that kind of battery problem, that it goes from 100 to 0 just like that. And then at some point in time, it doesn't even rise beyond 5%, no matter how long you charge it anymore. That battery is in trouble. That's a burnt out battery. Another sign and symptom of burnout is reduced performance and increased unforced errors. For those of us that watch tennis, we know about unforced errors. It's not even your opponent that's making you commit the error. Now you are the one committing the error. It could be a sign of burnout when you start to make uncharacteristic mistakes that you know that normally I don't make this kind of mistake. What's going on now? I've been able to identify this in myself at various junctions in my life. Once I start to find myself starting to stumble, starting to be irritable, starting to make mistakes, starting to forget things that I normally would not forget, I know that it's time to deal with certain things. It's time to take a break. One of the solutions is time to take a break. It's time to recharge my batteries. I'm starting to burn out. The demand is starting to be more than the supply. When you start to have a loss of sense of purpose and meaning, all right, when you are waking up and still feeling tired, it's a sign of burnout. When time off no longer re-energizes you, when you come back from a vacation, quote unquote, and it doesn't take but 48 hours, you're back to ground zero. These are all signs and symptoms of burnout, or the beginnings of a burnout. All right, let's quickly move forward. Now, there are certain things that can predispose you to burning out. So I want to quickly deal with 5 of the things that can predispose you to burnout. And so if you can know what is predisposing you to burnout, you can quickly deal with it. You can quickly avoid it. You can quickly address it so that you're not in a position to burn out. So let's quickly look at the predispositions to burnout. Number 1, a performance-centered self-worth. What do I mean by that? This is what I mean by that. A performance-centered self-worth, where you define yourself, you get your sense of self-worth from your performance, where the entirety of your definition of yourself and your worth is all premised on how well you are performing, how well you are doing one thing or the other. So now your self-worth is directly connected to your performance. Now that might seem like a good thing. This is a typical mindset that high achievers have, because they define themselves by what they do and how well they do it. So they are driven to always perform high. They are driven to always deliver. They are driven to always do exceedingly above what is expected. But this type of mindset can predispose you to burn out, because your self-worth is so intricately connected to your performance. It means that even when you are running out of steam, fuel to continue to perform, you will continue to push yourself because your self-worth is connected to that. Now, what you need to do, or one of the things you need to do, is that your self-worth has to move away from being performance-based and being based upon your knowledge of yourself. Now, for a man and a woman of faith, your self-worth should come out of the fact that you know that God loves you, not based upon your performance. For parents dealing with their children, as much as you must teach and train and your children to excel, you must also let them know and convince them that your love for them is not dependent upon their performance. Your love for them is based on you just love them. They're your children. Yeah. So your self-worth cannot be rooted in your performance. If your self-worth is rooted in your performance, it's actually predisposing you to burnout. Another challenge that predisposes people to burnout is a sense of entitlement, an entitlement mentality. People that have a entitlement mentality are predisposed to burnout because they're always expecting something, and then when they don't get it, they are pushed in the direction of burnout, okay? No boundaries, somebody without boundaries, that's not able to define where he starts, when he stops, doesn't have any boundaries in various areas of his life, that person is predisposed to burnout. Lack of insight, a person that's not able to doesn't have an accurate insight into himself or herself is predisposed to burnout because he doesn't even know his capacity. He doesn't know his strengths, his weaknesses, so is likely to find himself carrying more than he really can carry, and that puts him in a position for burnout. And then unrealistic expectations is another thing that predisposes one for burnout. When you have unrealistic expectations, a lot of people enter the workplace with the expectation that, oh, this workplace is going to cater to my emotional needs and my need to be cuddled or to be loved. The workplace is not meant for that. The workplace is meant for delivering results and performance. So that unrealistic expectation has already set you up for discouragement and for burnout in the workplace. Just like having an expectation that somehow your human spouse will be able to meet each and every one of your needs. It can happen. He's a human being. She's a human being. She can't do everything. So you've got to make sure that your expectations are realistic and are directed in the right direction. Anyone that is constantly having unrealistic expectations of situations, of circumstances, of people's, and all of that is setting himself up to be burnt out. There are a lot of people and a lot of things that we exalt to levels that they should not be exalted to, and have therefore unrealistic expectations of what they would deliver to us, and therefore we become disappointed when they fail to deliver that to us. I've been dropping a lot of information in this short span of time. I'm going to quickly look into the chat column right now. Is any of what I'm saying resonating with anybody? Does it feel like I'm speaking into your situation, that I'm speaking into your experience, what you're going through? So if there's anybody out there, just quickly type inside the chat. Let me know whether you're still with me, whether it's resonating, whether it's making sense to you. I can see that some chat has been going on. Yes, I can see. Yes, Samson says, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Joy says 100%. It makes sense. Daddy Odejide says yes. Anybody else out there? Come on. Let's interact. I know that with webinars, a lot of the time it feels like it's one-way traffic. One man is talking and we're listening. Okay. Oluwatoyin, BB, I can see Funta. Yes, people, I can fully relate with this. Yes, I can see those responses flowing in now. Thank you, Emmanuel, Millicent, Dara. That's great. That's great. Benedetta, yes. Olayinka, brilliant. Great. Because now I'm about to start to delve into antidotes to burnout. Now, like I said earlier, I can't give you all of them. And the truth be told, to really overcome burnout, you can't do it alone. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's all right. You can't do it alone. You need help to be able to get out of burnout. And I'm going to offer that help. But I'm going to give you some things that you can apply. You can start to use right now to burnout proof yourself. I like that. To burn out proof yourself, to put yourself in a position where you are burnout proof, where you can avoid burnout if you aren't already going down that stress spiral. Okay, so stay with me. Are you ready? If you're ready, just type in yes, I'm ready. I want to hear the antidotes to burnout. I want to hear the antidotes to burnout. So that's where we're going around about now. Antidotes to burnout. I'm only going to give you 6 this evening. But these 6 are loaded. This 6 will really help you. Number 1 of the 6, you've got to reconnect with your why. Your why. What is why? Why is the reason. You've got to reconnect with your why. Number 1 antidote. Let me quickly take a side step and let you know, actually, that the antidotes to burnout are also the secrets of the evergreen. Anybody that you see that is evergreen is somebody that is walking in the light of the antidotes to burn out. So the antidotes are also the secrets of the evergreen. You know, those people that just seem like they're just always on point. They've always got it going. They just don't seem to falter and all of that. And sometimes when I see these people, you are a little bit concerned that, am I sure that something is not out of place here? Are they telling the truth? Well, there are truly evergreen people. Even the Bible describes them that they are as the tree that is planted by the rivers of water and that is evergreen. It bears its fruit in season and it always is evergreen. That's us. That's what we're meant to be. But there are keys, there are antidotes to being evergreen. And it starts with, you've got to reconnect with your why. You've got to reconnect with your why. Why? Your why often fades with the daily grind. Yeah? With the daily grind, the daily demands upon us, the daily things that we have to do, the pushing forward, the running, the delivery, the children, the work, the money, the bills. You know, the UK is the land of bills, endless bills, you know. And as we are pursuing all of these things, our why, our reason often fades with the daily grind. This is why you have to reconnect with your why. Now, how do you do that? You have to set up regular reminders for the reason you do what you do. So this is what the good book, the Bible, actually tells when it says that write down the vision and make it plain upon the table so that whosoever reads it might be able to run with it. In multiple other places, it talks about you making the word as a frontlet between your eyes. So you've got to identify your why. Why are you in that marriage? Why are you at that place of work? Why are you in that relationship? Why are you in that church? There's a deep why that you have, and you now have to write down that why, particularly in the good days. In the good days, you write down that why. In the early days, you write down that why, because it is when the challenges arise that you particularly need to be able to remember your reasons. Set up regular reminders for the reason you do what you do. So you have a vision board, you have these things written down, you have them in a journal, you have them in a book, you have them on the saver screen of your computer, you have them on your phone. Your reason, your why. Constantly reminding yourself, reconnecting with your why. This will give you fuel even in the time when there are a lot of demands upon you, all right? So number one is you've got to reconnect with your why. Now, number two is maintain an attitude of gratitude. If you're going to be evergreen, and if you're going to be able to ward off burnout, you've got to maintain an attitude of gratitude. I know that seems played out because we've heard it in so many ways and in so many places before, but it bears repetition, and I'm going to break it down in a way that hopefully you really have a strong take home. Your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitude is key. Your attitude determines your perspective. Your attitude will determine whether you look at something and see the good in it, or you look at something and you see only the bad in it. Your attitude determines your altitude. Now, one of the attitude foundations you must have is that you've got to have the attitude that no one owes you anything. You see, the opposite of the attitude of gratitude is actually an entitlement mentality. Did you get that? The actual opposite to the attitude of gratitude is an entitlement mentality, where you feel everybody or this person or that person owes you this, owes you that, should do that. No, the best attitude for you to have is actually to have an attitude that no one owes you anything. Now, I know that doesn't sound too joyous or something to be excited about, but the truth is that it liberates you when you realize that no one actually owes me anything. And guess what that does to you? It also sets you up to be grateful, therefore, for anything that anyone gives you. And you've got to also have this mentality that everything is a gift. Everything is a gift. Every extra minute, every extra hour, every extra day, everything is a gift. Oh, yes. You've got to have that attitude that, look, even my ability to work is a gift. Even my ability to wake up and do this, do that, it's a gift. When you have this, it helps you to maintain an attitude of gratitude. Maximize what little you have. That's how it becomes more. You see, if you are only always grumbling over what you don't have, then you will never maximize the little that you do have. You've got to learn to be grateful, therefore able to maximize the little that you have. And in maximizing the little that you have, it becomes more. It becomes more. So number 2 antidote to burnout is to maintain an attitude of gratitude. Number 3, set right boundaries. Woo! Set right boundaries. I hope somebody is hearing me tonight. This is how you're going to burn-proof your life, burnout-proof your life. Set right boundaries. You've got to set right boundaries. You can't have a boundaryless life. You can't have, but let me stop a moment and just talk a little bit more about this. You can't have a boundaryless life, all right? A boundaryless life is on the way to burnout. You have to set right boundaries. And there are good books about boundaries. There's some bestseller books on boundaries that are super, super good. You've got to set boundaries. Now, in setting boundaries, therefore, you have to learn to say no deliberately, but politely. You've got to learn to say no deliberately, but politely. You've got to learn to say no. Yes, you've got to be able to say no. That's part of setting boundaries. Now, some of us, our personality type is the personality type that always wants to say yes, but you've got to learn to say no. And guess what? You are actually already saying no. You just didn't know it. You are actually already saying no, you just didn't know it. Because every time you say yes to something, you just said no to something else. Because you are a limited resource, every time you say yes to something, you've just said no to something else. Because there's opportunity cost. You can't be everywhere at the same time. You are not God omnipresent. Yeah? So therefore, rather than allowing your yeses to become your inadvertent no's to things you didn't even want to say no to, let your no's be deliberate so that you can say yes to what you want to say yes to. Did somebody get that? You need to let your no be deliberate but polite. Don't be rude. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be nasty. Yeah? Learn to say no deliberately so that you are freed to say yes to what you really want to say yes to, rather than letting your yes to so many things that you really shouldn't say yes to become the inadvertent no to the things that you want to say yes to. In setting the right boundaries, you need to schedule when you respond. Listen. You don't always have to respond immediately. We are living in an age where our space is being consistently interrupted and invaded and intruded upon. Notifications on the phone. And I'm somebody that's pretty good with my phone. I'm pretty, people tell me that they send me a message, they get an answer pretty quickly. I love my WhatsApp and text messages. Maybe I'm not so good. It's not maybe. I'm not so good with phone calls, but WhatsApp messages, text messages, I tend to be faster with those, but they're constantly intruding into your space. And if you're not careful, you can spend hours, spend your whole day just responding and responding. So if we are going to set right boundaries, you need to schedule when you respond. Sounds tough, but if you get into the habit of it, it's going to deliver you, and it's going to start protecting you from burnout. It's going to start protecting you from more demands than you have supply for. So it's not everything you need to respond to immediately. It's not everything you need to respond to immediately. There are things you can pause. You can say, okay, I'm going to check my email in the morning, and then I'm going to check it at this time in the afternoon, or I'm going to check it in the morning and evening, whatever. Start to schedule your response. Start to be more, don't let your life just be constantly responding to demands. Schedule your responses. That's part of setting your boundaries. Now, listen to this. Protect your downtime and free time like it is sacred. Protect your downtime and your free time as if it was sacred, because it's sacred. So your free time is an appointment. Your downtime is an appointment. So when somebody is now asking you to do something that's in the time when you have scheduled that this is my time to rest, rather than saying, I really don't have anything doing, you do have something doing. Rest is something you are doing. Downtime is something you are doing. Recharging your batteries is something that you are doing. It is not I'm doing nothing. You are doing something. So protect that time of rest, that time of recuperation, because it is sacred. I hope I'm making sense to somebody here. All right. Then the next thing is that avoid gossip and toxic conversations. Set right boundaries. Set right boundaries. I know gossip can be sweet in the mouth, but it's poison to the soul. Sweet to the ears, but it's poison to the soul. So set boundaries and let people start to know that you are the type of person that does not entertain gossip and all these toxic conversations. You simply do not entertain it. Because if you were to entertain it, it starts to affect your soul, and it predisposes you and pushes you down in the direction of burnout. Avoid gossip and toxic conversations. Set boundaries. All right. I hope this is starting to speak to somebody. It's going somewhere. This is really, really important. Okay. Let's move forward. That's number 3 antidote. Number 4 antidote is divide and delegate the labor. Divide and delegate the labor. All right. What does this mean? This is about sharing the labor. This is really about, quote unquote, the division of labor. Is the division, share the labor. You are carrying too much. You aren't meant to carry all that by yourself. You're actually meant to share the labor. You are meant to share the labor. You're not meant to try to carry it all by yourself, okay? Now, that means, listen to this, life is actually meant to be like a tag team event. Many of us, if not all of us, have watched wrestling matches before, where there's a tag team event where somebody's in the ring and is fighting, and when he feels like I can't go any further, all he needs to do is rush to the side where his partner is and tag his partner, and his partner comes in fresh and ready to fight while he goes back out to recuperate. That's what life is meant to be like. We are meant to be a tag team. So how do you deal with this? You've got to learn the art of delegation. And there's a full process for proper delegation. Delegation is not just dumping things on people and walking away. No, there is a process to delegation. This is not the time for me to teach you that. At least 4 to 5 steps for effective delegation that gives you the results that you want. You've got to you build up a good team, or rather identify your natural team. You see, there are people that are naturally in your life that you are meant to be support structures for one another. So you've got to identify your natural team. Stop trying to do it all by yourself. There are people that are naturally called to you and that you are naturally called to, that you're meant to be a tag team for one another, even in any department, whether in the workplace or in church or wherever it is. That's why you have teams, so that when one is carrying the load, the other can rest for a bit to take it up when it is their time to take it up. And sometimes we're all carrying the load together, but because we're all carrying the load together at the same time, it's lighter for every one of us. So your team is your support structure. Identify your natural team. We're moving quickly to number 5. Number 5 is schedule taking breaks. Schedule taking breaks. Taking a break is important. But guess what I just said? I didn't say take a break. I said taking breaks, plural. Take breaks, not just a break. Now, before somebody says, oh, are you saying that I should take a vacation every 2 months? No. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean that even in any given day, plan, when am I going to take a break? Some of us have smartphones. I have a smartphone. An Apple Watch is an old one. I don't know what generation it is. Yeah. But my Apple Watch, every once in a while, will tell me that I should stand up. Tells me to get up. And for me, that's a sign that I should take a break. I've been sitting down in front of the computer doing some work for the last 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever period of time. Even my smart watch is telling me, take a break, get up, get up. This is physiological. Get up, walk around, take a break. Plan taking a break into even your daily schedule, your weekly schedule, into your month. This is apart from taking a vacation or taking a proper span of break. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It should be part of your life that you take a break, you pull back. Lunch breaks, take your lunch break. It's important. It's part of what is helping you to function appropriately. Yeah, take breaks. Factor rest and recreation into your schedule. Factor rest and recreation into your schedule. All right, this is important. It shouldn't be an afterthought. And right now I'm preaching to myself because I'm trying to deliver myself from Workaholics Anonymous. You know, we just love working, but you've got to now learn how to rest and factor rest and recreation into your schedule. Don't wait till you are burnt out before taking a break. This is the mistake that a lot of people make. They wait till they are done and they are out, they are burnt out, they're finished before either their physiology by illness and sickness forces them to take a break, or it's just at that point in time they just drop all. I don't care what happens, I'm out of here. Let the business crash, let the department crash. I really don't give a hoot anymore. I can't come and kill myself. I'm going. And because you waited till you were already burnt out before taking that break, the break ends up not being as restorative as it is meant to be. It ends up not being as restorative as it is meant to be. All right, so you've got to learn to schedule in the break ahead of time. Don't wait till you are burnt out before taking a break. The challenge with waiting till you are burnt out before taking a break is that you never really want to come back from that break that you take, particularly to go back to the place where you are burnt out, because now you associate your being burnt out with that place where you were before. Meanwhile, that place where you were before might not necessarily be what was wrong, as much as you did not take control of your life, schedule in taking a break, and the other antidotes that I have shared with you so far. I hope this is really helping somebody. If it's helping somebody, give me a thumbs up, say yes, say something in the chat, and let me know that you are still here and you are with me. Taking a break does not need to end in a breakup. It doesn't need to end up in a breakup. And there are certain things you need to do to protect yourself from a break, ending up in a breakup. You know, sometimes a couple will come, they've been having issues, and they now tell me that, oh, we need to take a break from one another. And a lot of the time, in fact, the larger percentage of times, probably 80% of the time, is the prelude to a breakup, because they've waited for things to get too bad before they took that break. Taking a break does not need to end in a breakup. If you schedule taking breaks early, you put a time span on it, and therefore you really come back refreshed. Now listen to this statement, but remember, time off does not heal you when the problem is how you spend your time on. That is worth the entry ticket right there. This is something shared by Carrie Newhoff. Okay, time off will not heal you when the problem is how you spend your time on. All right, so a lot of us take time off, but then we come back and we find out that we're still in trouble, because the problem wasn't really you are taking time off. It was that you hadn't mastered how to take time on, which brings me to point number 6, which is leverage your energy levels. Leverage your energy levels. Leverage your energy levels. What does this mean? You see, a lot of people talk about time management. That's important. But now I'm talking about energy management, managing your energy. So these are things that you need to look at. What gives you energy and what saps your energy? So an exercise I'll ask you to do when you have the time, and it's one of the exercises that is in the burnout recovery program that I offer, and that is you look at all your routine activities and you classify them. You put the ones that give you energy, that energize you, or you put them under that, and the ones that take away energy from you, put them under that. And once you are able to do that, what you try to do is you try to make sure that you are making sure that you give ample time to the things that energize you, and you are reducing the time that you give to the things that sap your energy. Then you have to track your energy pattern. When do you have your best energy? When do you have your best energy? Am I talking to anybody here? When do you have your best energy? What does this mean? This means that, you see, we are physiological beings. We can't be 100% 24 hours of the day. In fact, science and statistics reveal that you have peak energy probably 3 to 4 hours of a 24-hour span. Yeah, that's your peak energy. Then you have other hours that we can classify it as green zones. Green zone is your peak energy period, which could be 3, 4, or maximum 5 hours. I'm functioning at 100%. I've got it going. Then you have your orange zones, which are you're not at peak, but you are still decent. And then you have your red zones when you are drained and out. So you've got to study yourself and know your zone. You've got to know your zone. Yeah, this is very important for you. Hallelujah. Okay, I hope I'm making sense to somebody. You've got to know your zone. You've got to know your time. Track your energy. Now, some of us are morning people. Some of us are afternoon people. A few of us are night people. Some people are really midnight people, very strange people, but these are people anyway, okay? So you've got to track your own energy pattern and know when you have your peak energy, okay? Now, when you do that, when you know what type of energy patterns you have, guess what you're meant to do? You are now meant to schedule your most important assignments, your most important goals, your most important objectives to be done during your peak energy time. Because guess what? Those things a lot of the time are also the things that energize you. So it becomes a positive vibe for you. So you schedule your best work for when you are at your best. Do your best work when you are at your best. A lot of people make a mistake with this because they schedule just anything and anywhere, and then they find out that they're not doing their best and they're feeling super, super drained. You don't want to do that. Leverage your own energy pattern. Identify when your energy is at its peak. Rank your routine activities in terms of what energizes you and what drains you. Make good time for what energizes you and reduce the time given to the things that sap you of energy. Schedule your most important work for when you have peak energy. And then one other note I'll give you is that put exercise, put physical exercise into your life, no matter how small. Get exercise into your life. It's going to do you a world of good. Get up and walk, get up and run, get up and do exercise at home. You don't have to have a gym membership. Get on YouTube and follow some exercise pattern there. Go and walk for 30 minutes every day. It oxygenizes your body and it makes you healthy. And this is an easy way to get endorphins released in your body that makes you energized. Every time I do workout with my wife and with my younger sister at home, it's always a struggle to start. We are encouraging each other, pushing each other. But once we are done, you feel good. You feel, yes, endorphins are released. So get physical exercise into your life. Now I'm starting to come to the close and I need to share with you some of what I'm offering you. But as I'm closing, first of all, let me tell you this: don't go it alone. You weren't designed to go it alone. You cannot get out of burnout by yourself. You shouldn't go it alone. Burnout is not cured by self-help or even self-love. You need help. The science, statistics, studies reveal that people that are burnt out cannot get out of burnout just by themselves. They need to get help. They need help to get out of burnout. You need help. I need help, all right? We all have blind spots. We all have blind spots. We all have things we can't see. We need help. So you have to leverage people close to you to help you to get out of burnout and to break those negative patterns in your life that's leading you to burnout, to tell you that, hey, I think you're overextending yourself right there, okay? Build a support structure. Get a coach. Get a coach. Get coaches, if you like, that will help you, that will guide you, that are able to have insight to things that you probably cannot see for yourself. One of the gifts that a coach gives you is the gift of accountability. All right, we'll say a little bit about that before we're done. Be accountable. Accountability liberates you. It doesn't confine you, it liberates you. It actually helps you to get to where you want to get to. A lot of people run away from having such accountability or having a coach. They think they're doing themselves good, but they're actually doing themselves bad, because a coach will hold you accountable. It becomes another source of reminders of what you are meant to be doing. So one of the things that I'm offering is a 5-week burnout recovery program, from exhaustion to rejuvenation. 5 weeks to help anybody that feels that they are already burnt out or they are burning out and they want to get out of it. You can't do it by yourself. I want to help you get out of burnout. The webinar tonight is of great help to you. A lot of great principles here, but I've got more for you to really work for 5 weeks, help you get out of the stress spiral and the negative cycles that have locked you into a bad way, where right now you look at life and all you see is negativity. All you see is disillusionment. I want to help you break that cycle and get out of burnout. I want to help you to become burnout free. 5-week burnout recovery program. It's going to include one-on-one sessions along with group sessions. It will help you identify unique triggers and stressors that cause your burnout, because everybody's burnout is different. There are certain things in your own scenario that is triggering your burnout. This course or this program will help you identify your own unique triggers and stressors for burnout. You will get a personalized burnout recovery plan for yourself, and you will enjoy an accountability structure that will keep you on track until you are burnout free. You know, there are a lot of people that don't even already know that they are burnt out. In fact, somebody was talking to me the other day as I was talking about all of the symptoms and the things about, and I said, wow, I never thought I was burnt out, but all these things you're talking about, it's actually my experience. Well, I want to help you get out of that burnout. This is a big thing. So all you need to do is send me an email. Send me an email at Temi Odejide. You see the email at the end of these slides. Temi Odejide, Temi@temiodejide.co.uk. Yeah, there it is right on the screen. Temi@temiodejide.co.uk. Send me an email that, hey, I want to get on the 5-week burnout program. I'm going to be starting that program very soon, possibly in the next 1-2 weeks. In fact, I want to start it very quickly. It's going to start with one-on-one sessions, and then we'll have some group sessions. It's going to close with one-on-one sessions. So if you are interested, this is the time. Don't procrastinate. Don't delay. Send me that email right fast so I know who's interested, and we can set it up and we can get this thing rolling. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. And then also, I want to present myself to you once again as a coach. I told you I'm a man of many parts, but one of the things that I do is bespoke leadership and life coaching. Desiree, who did the intro to this, is one of my mentees, and I've seen her grow in leaps and bounds over the months that I have been coaching and mentoring her. In the bespoke leadership and life coaching that I offer, you get insight, accountability, and inspiration with a difference. So if you feel like, well, I don't really think I need the burnout recovery program, but I would love for Pastor Temi to be my coach. I think that he has value to add to me, to help me in my leadership, to help me in my life, to help me in public speaking, to help me to achieve my goals and my visions. Well, once again, all you need to do is email me at temi@temiodejide.co.uk. Let me know what you are interested in, and I will get back to you. Now, these offerings are not free, but they're not costly either. You've got to think more about value than cost. Whatever you have to part with for these offerings, it is far less than the value that you are going to gain. I really hope you take advantage, not just of the information that you've been given tonight, but also of these offerings that have followed it. I can only but put it out there. It's now for you to engage it. Thank you for listening to the presentation tonight. I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback, so please share your feedback. I'm going to give only 9 or 8 more minutes to try to answer questions. So if you have a question you want to quickly ask, you want to quickly type it inside the question tab, not in the chat, because it can be easily lost in the chat. Type it inside the question tab, and we'll try to quickly answer those questions before we're done, okay? And finally, this is the email once again. Email where to contact me, temi@temiodejide.co.uk. I'm looking forward to having that email box just jammed. Send me feedback, send me what you're interested in, what you'd like to engage in, whether it is the burnout recovery program or whether it is the leadership and life coaching with me. Send me an email, let me know, and let's get this thing rolling to temi@temiodejide.co.uk. All right, so now, do we have any questions? Thank you for the responses. I'm already seeing inside the chats. I'm looking for questions to round it up tonight. Thank you, amazing insights. Thank you for this great session. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You know, sometimes you put out all this stuff, you tell people, you make noise, hey, come and get blessed, come and get what you need. And sometimes people just don't respond. They are caught up in the stress cycle, caught up in their own business, that the things that would really, really help them, they often miss out on it. And I don't want you to be one of such people. I want you to maximize your potential and to reach your purpose. So please take advantage of these things. Do I have any questions out there tonight? Any questions? You can put it inside the question and answer tab. Yeah, Dominic, really good to have you on here tonight. Yes. This has been very enriching. Debbie says, amazing session, Pastor Temi, deep nuggets of wisdom. I will likely be sharing the recording of this session with all those that attended, or a link to that recording. I'll be sharing it with all those that attended, so you can go over it again. I hope you took good notes at the same time, all right? Mayan, really good to see you on here. Informative session. Millicent Okoronkwa, BB, yes. Abimadu, really good to see you. Sister Funke Coco, thank you for being on here tonight. I hope you guys will all take advantage of what is available to you. Toyin Bode, Olabisi, Daudu, oh, brilliant. Wow. We thank, I'm so excited to see so many of you there. You like my slides? Thank you. That was some work. Some good work went into that to make sure that you are getting quality and you are getting excellence tonight. And I really, really hope that burnout cycles in our lives are broken forever. But it's not just by praying it, hoping it, wishing it. It's also by taking these very practical steps that I have shared with you. Louis Olatunji, really good to see you on here tonight. Yes, it's nice to connect with you once again. And Doris Ariole, thank you so much. Great to have you. Thank you for being such a faithful follower and supporter and making noise about what I'm doing. I also support what you're doing. You're doing a great job. So proud of you. All right. So if there are no questions tonight, we're about to bring it to a close. We went a little bit over an hour like I had anticipated that we would, but I see that the majority of you, well more than a majority of you, stayed tuned throughout the duration. That's super. Stalpayemi, I see you. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for being on here tonight. All right, so if there are no questions, let's call it a night. Thank you once again, all. Think about the things you've heard tonight. Take time out to think of your take homes and the application. Send me an email, even if it is just feedback that you want to send to me. Send me an email. Don't procrastinate, don't postpone it. Don't push it into the distant future. Seize the moment and do it now so that we can get this thing rolling, and you make sure that you didn't just have a wonderful session. It actually was life transformative. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to get me some rest now. Yeah, it's part of avoiding burnout. God bless you. Good night.